Welcome to Pacific Beer Chat podcast number 6. This is Mike from Mike's Craft Beer. We've got Terry from West Coast Beer Geek. We got Mike, the Beer Raider. And we got
Cheers.
Carnell from carnellsbeer.wordpress.com. Today we're going to talk about our favorite winter beers, what we like about winter beers, and what doesn't work as a winter beer. All right. I guess, do you want to start out? What are your favorite characteristics of a winter beer?
Dark. Something full, Like, I like to be able to almost chew it. I don't know if you guys are along those lines, but, summertime comes, everyone's into big hops. Not that you can't have those in the winter, but I like it to get down to the malts, something dark that you can't necessarily see through.
That makes sense for me. I like the big alcohol, big flavor. Yeah. Warm you up a little bit as you drink it, but, keep you going back for the next sip with all the extra flavor.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that. I'm usually looking for something that, I don't know if, especially on holidays, you don't really have to worry about waking up at 6 a.m. with a clear head.
Yeah.
It's okay if you sleep in a little,
So do you guys like the spice though? Because that's the one thing I'm noticing, a lot of spice in a lot of beers, and I'm not always a big fan. So what I've stopped buying most things that say winter on them. That's not true. I've had a few, but
Yeah.
I haven't enjoyed them as much as I have enjoyed the big beers, the dark beers like you guys are talking about.
Yeah, no, for sure. I find most of the winter ales are just big vanilla bombs and too much spice. I mean, leave the spice in all the pumpkin beers and put other things in your winter beers.
I think it works for some of them, though.
Yeah, I've had some good ones where, like Christmas Prairie Bomb, for example, where that's like there's a ridiculous amount of spices in that one, and it just works. But I had a gingerbread stout the other night, and that was bad.
Yeah,
I wasn't a big fan either.
And I will say that I really prefer to let mine sit in the cellar for about a year, and I find they're way better the next year. The spices kind of mellow. They mix in with the malts a little bit more, and it's just a much better drink, much more balanced, much more enjoyable. So I most winter beers I buy this year, I'm just put them in the cellar and I'll drink them next year.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Sometimes you forget about them and then you find them too. That's happened a few times. Like, for example, I had a tree beer that was not a big tree brewing fan, but it was one of their reserve spice ones, and it was 2 years old, and it was actually pretty good at that point. Fresh, it would have been horrible, but after 2 years, it actually mellowed into something that was pretty drinkable.
Nice. I mean, some people a little harsh on Stanley Park sometimes, but they're what's their winter ale called again?
Oh, not Icebreaker.
Is that what it is? Icebreaker?
I think
it tastes sort of like a Black Forest cake beer.
Oh,
I'd much rather that than any of the vanilla beers that are out there.
yeah. It's a sideways move, I think. I don't know. I was doing a bottle share the other night, and we had the full gamut. We had a lot of spice beers, some of which had some really nice flavors in them. It's just the spice was a big turnoff for me. It comes in heavy at the end. Maybe it mellows well. But if I'm a guy buying beer at the store and it says Christmas beer, I'm thinking this Christmas. I'm not thinking next Christmas beer. If that was the case, I'd put like Christmas 2016 beer or whatever. In any case, although we had the Ninkasi Slayer, which I know is an American beer, but it's just a double alt, I think, and it's got all those flavors we just talked about. It's a big dark beer, and it's nothing crazy. It's nothing spice. It's not chocolate. It's not vanilla. But everything you want from a Christmas beer, I think. It's dark. It's to the season. It's got a good malt character. The hops are there, but they're more in a balancing role. And it warms you. That's what I want from winter beer personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want something that makes me think of like sitting in a leather chair by a campfire, or not a campfire, but an actual fire, or a campfire.
A leather chair by a campfire. That's a good trick.
Hey man, I camp in style. Don't knock it. Nick Offerman's all about it. But you know, you just want to be able to like take in an experience, if you will, and just kind of sit down with it, really enjoy, and forget about the rest of the year. Thanks to the high alcohol.
No, for sure. I mean, for me, I usually I go towards the barley wines and stuff like that.
Well, you just do that in general.
Well, I would if it could.
Is that
But
Woolly Bugger?
that's the Woolly Bugger, yeah.
Is that this year's?
It
No
is,
way,
yeah. It's a
Nice.
bomber this year.
Oh wow. That's a great beer. I
Yeah.
got 2 of the bottles from last season, and
I mean-
they kill.
Big fan of anything like an Imperial Porters or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Russian
Here's,
Imperial Stouts are great.
Yeah.
What about other flavors? So I went by Yellow Dog today, and wanted to see if they had any Christmas beers. They don't specifically, but they do have their coconut porter. So does that fit in for you guys?
I think it works with the roastiness and the just
Yeah.
the darker beer and everything. People like their stouts and porters more in the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could drink that one. I could drink that one year round though. That's I mean, I'm pretty liberal with it when it comes to beer styling and seasons. I drink my barley wines in the summer and the winter. But
As often as possible.
yeah, but yeah, I could go for that one. But one thing I do like, and I haven't picked up this year, there's a couple nice winter IPAs out there that are quite enjoyable. For example, Hub makes one called I think it's Abominable Winter Ale. It's
Yes.
fantastic.
You can find them in gas
Just a
station.
Really, really good beer.
That's considered an IPA?
Yeah.
Huh.
What is it? Deschutes Red Chair is probably the best inexpensive beer you can get around this time of year. You can usually get your 12 packs for about $14 at like Fred Meyer. It's fantastic beer.
What makes that a
And that's
winter
it.
beer, though, to you?
It's just it's a Northwest Pale Ale that they come out this time of the year, and it's there's not much wintry about it. It's just the season that they release it, right? So, but it's a nice break from the gingerbread, right? So that's a good one. And then and I will say, I mean, probably the only wintry thing about it is the fact that it's a white IPA. But Tukes of Hazzard is a favorite of mine. 49. That's a good one.
Mhm.
And it's just got a wicked name and label.
I think Mike has an opinion on beers that aren't quite wintry.
I've got my list right here so far. Craft Crossing Pack. I've got a bit of a bone to pick with you guys. Like, seriously. They're holiday packs. Yeah, you call it Craft Crossing. Not necessarily winter, but there's a snowman on the pack, so come on. We're talking about winter here.
It's an advent
So-
calendar.
Yeah, it's an advent calendar, even though they can't technically call it an advent calendar. That's what it is. So, like, some of the things right here, Red Racer ISA, not wintry. Jerkface, Northwest Wheat Ale. That was decent in the summer. Some Brett Saisons, Pale Ale, just standard IPAs. All the Roche Bock. It's just gross in general, but that's... I don't
They
like
kind of
Roche
remind you of a
Bock.
campfire, don't they?
They're just not that good.
Missing the leather chair.
Yeah.
Like Copper Ale, Maybox. They put out actually parallel 49. I called it a winter beer, Mr. Needles, the fur pale ale, I think it was, but it's only because it tastes like a Christmas tree, not necessarily a winter beer.
Tough crowd. Tough crowd.
But I don't know. I think I told you this last night that I think there should be a pack that's just all winter beer. I don't care if it costs more. I'll pay for it.
So rebellious.
Do
it.
Paying for it
And-
to pay more.
Yeah.
I know you'll make one for me, Terry, but I don't have pockets that deep.
But are you surprised? I mean, I had one last year, and I was the same way, disappointed in what was there, the ISA, the IPAs.
Yeah.
I thought especially the stuff coming from. Sorry?
Yeah.
I thought especially the stuff from Red Racer, although it was all good quality beer, it was pretty poor for a winter advent calendar. But I mean, is it just a cash grab at this point, right?
It is. Like
24 different beers in a box. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least
Any
it's
one of
Thor's
us can
Hammer
do
in it.
that. Yeah, it did have Thor's Hammer. That's when I gave up on my blogging of it. I was like, Thor's Hammer, I'm not drinking this now.
Why not? That's a great evening beer.
Yeah. It was a Christmas
Although
beer that needed to.
What they did this year is better than what they did last year. Like, it got better. It didn't get wintry, but it got, they had, 12 new beers in there, so that's
6
that's
each.
respectable,
No, I do appreciate that part about it because one of the things, if I'm going to be paying more for it or paying more for just your regular beer that I don't really buy off the shelf that often, at least I get 12 beer that I haven't tried before.
Yeah, and you're not really paying much more. I mean, you'd be about $64 to buy all that kind of beer anyway. Like,
Yeah.
you're not paying a big markup on that. It's pretty good.
Well, I also won it on the radio, so.
I didn't want to say that, but yeah. Thought I'd kill your rhetoric, but there you go.
Thank you, Linda Steele.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it would be nice for them to make a couple more heavier wintry beers in there and just kind of go all out. And I think people would appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like
It's gotta be.
on another style that I don't we haven't mentioned it. Again, I'm drinking a Belgian Triple by Townsite.
Oh, yeah.
I've also got this is cellar for, it's got to be at least a year. I also got last year's Blitzen, which is another Belgian Triple by Steelworks.
Yeah.
And these things cellar really well. In fact, they're way better after a year or two, sometimes 3, because they can start out a little sweet, and that kind of sort of residual sugar kind of tones down and blends in a little bit more. And they have a nice kind of a fruity, sort of wintry feel to them. They're just really, really nice style that if you can keep them around for a while, they're really worth picking up and drinking. So it's another favorite of mine.
I would almost rather drink doubles or quads than a triple for winter. A lot more of that roasty character, dark fruits. Still pretty sweet, but
Yeah.
it's not as sweet as the triples.
Well,
Yeah,
Townside's winter is a double.
Okay, I haven't
Yeah,
had that
the
one
beer
yet.
deaver. That's a good one. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Although
have-
their Perfect Storm is better. That comes out in January.
I don't know that one. Actually, I can see a bottle on your wall there that's an amazing winter beer. Terry, the S'more Stout.
Oh, and then there's this one too. Just for calling birds. This is a brewery bourbon-based beer at 15% alcohol.
Nice and light.
Yeah, S'more Stout. That's a good one. A couple other fun ones like that.
S'more Stout's great too because when you go to the brewery, they actually roast a marshmallow on your glass.
Yep.
That
That's
makes me
crazy.
think of winter, the sweets and everything.
Yep.
And your campfire in your living room there, Mike.
Yeah. My
I don't know.
strategists love it, but what they don't know, they can't get mad at.
Now they know. Oh man.
Yep.
I guess, is there any things you really don't want to see in a winter beer?
Fruit.
Yeah, that
Um,
fruitcake beer, that'll go over well.
Hey, you can pair fruitcake and beer. It goes great with barley wine.
Does anyone eat that stuff?
You just don't buy the stuff from the store. Go to a bakery or make it yourself. It's way better.
I'll abstain.
I just thought it came like that from somewhere. I don't know.
fruitcake tree.
Just exists. They mine it. I think it's mined somewhere in northern Scotland or something.
Reindeer poop.
No, but honestly, I'm not a big fan of the fruity flavors in a winter beer. I think it's, I want that sweetness to come from the malt, which is a different kind of sweetness, at least to me.
Yeah.
I think someone mentioned the Stanley Park beer. I think that's one of the reasons I really don't like it is that sort of harsh cherry that comes through. To me, it cherry is something that ripens in summer, and it just tastes almost artificial to me having it in a winter beer. Um, but I mean that's just me.
Is that just fruit in general? Like there's some, say, doubles that come through a little plummy at times. Works
Yeah,
for
but I
me.
think that's coming from the beer rather than having rather than like physically inserting fruits at some point into
It's
your
still
brew.
fruit, Carnell.
It's okay. All right, I can see.
Oh, don't give up that easily.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, I've definitely had a couple of sort of odd creations, like Southern Tier creme brulee.
I wasn't a
And,
big fan of
Southern
that. That
Tier,
was so sweet.
Yeah, Southern Tier chocolate orange as well. And again, I know better than to drink those fresh because they're always just way too harsh. But though they either work or they don't. Like you
Yeah.
either love them or you hate them. there's no real in between with beers like that, right? So it's like the bacon one. You either love it or you hate it.
Yeah.
No one thinks it's just okay.
Who was it? Someone over on the Sunshine, or no, was it? Oh, shoot, was it Salt Spring Island Ales that did a creme brulee stout as well?
There is one out there, yeah. I think it was them.
Rings a bell.
And I remember enjoying that one, but it wasn't as sweet as a Southern Tier. Like that one was just might as well have been one of those vanilla bombs or sweet bombs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was having this conversation today actually with a guy at a brewery around here. I won't say where, but he does a lot of the buying for a couple of really big draft accounts in Vancouver. And he was telling me he specifically will not buy anything that's not sort of beer-based flavor. He's not going to buy anything that's got that heavy vanilla, that heavy orange, that heavy cherry in it. He wants everything to be beer. And this guy, he's got a lot of buying power, so I don't know what that means. Take it for what you want. But it was interesting to hear his opinion because, I think a lot of tap houses, places you'll go to, you'll find, they're happy to sell whatever's there, but at least these guys, they had a big commitment to, sort of more traditional flavors in beer.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of people like those weird beers. And, I mean, freaking Granville Island Winter, whatever, Lions Winter Ale gets voted best beer in the every year in the Georgia Strait. So
Yeah, it does.
I don't like it, but for it's not made for me,
No,
right? So
good on Molson
Yeah.
for making
Definitely
a
a
product
market
everyone
for it.
likes.
there's that Not Your Father's root beer in the States, which is like not really a beer. It's like they're now like 10% of the craft volume within a year. Yeah, so people like that sweet based beer. The kind of the cooler / pop and pour wine crowd really like that. So
Ugh.
yeah, it's a market for it. Just
Are you guys aware of J.S. Mill?
Doesn't ring a bell.
18th century English philosopher.
Nope.
That's why I don't know.
Anyways, long story short, he had this conception of higher and lower pleasures, but I always think sweetness is the lower pleasure. It's easy to get, right? But the real higher pleasure, the bigger pleasure is being able to appreciate, the harder flavors to discern in a beer, which is, often flavors that are more savory in a beer versus, like you've just been mentioning, the root beers or the fruit in beer. Anyways, I think Mill would be on my side, and a lot of really important people think he's cool too. So,
Sure.
yeah, I will say though, when you first start out, like anything, you tend to go for the sweeter, more in your face stuff, and then I find talking to a lot of people if they've been into it for a while, their tastes change and they go for just like wine too. Most people start out with the sweeter wines and then they go to the drier ones and kind of appreciate this more subtle flavors a little bit more. So it's an evolution.
I still haven't made it to those sweeter wines yet.
Well, it's just an exploration thing, right? Like you'll say you don't like one style, but then you'll find that one that you actually like of that style. So it's all
absolutely.
Yeah.
totally.
Pilsner.
One day I'll find one I really like.
Yeah.
That's not a winter beer for sure.
Isn't it, who makes a winter Pilsner?
Is there someone?
Yeah, I swear I've had it or seen it.
I mean, one of my favorite winter beers is always getting one of the 6-packs of Herminator for Vancouver
Yes.
Island Brewing there.
Yeah.
That stuff's a
Absolutely.
staple.
I had a couple of those on a business Christmas lunch the other week, and it made my afternoon a rather difficult.
Yeah, that can happen.
Yeah.
I had a Mega Destroyer for lunch recently, and
Yeah.
I was feeling a little tired.
Yeah, but at least if you're at like a business lunch and you ask for an ice box, it doesn't sound as bad as yes, I'll have the salad with a Mega Destroyer.
Actually, it was a poutine, but okay.
I don't know.
That's actually one beer where I actually stray from my not wanting really sweet beers, because with all the licorice in there, it actually is a fairly sweet beer,
Yeah, it is.
but it's not overpowering. I guess the alcohol is enough that it really makes it an enjoyable experience.
Right.
Yeah. Do they have that on Nitro right now at the brew pub downtown?
I don't know.
At
I was
the,
actually up in
Dover?
Squamish, and they
Oh, okay.
had their new coffee beer that was on Nitro.
Ooh,
How was that?
It was really good.
Yeah, they make some nice beers, and I love that 1 liter bottle most of the time anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially,
So when you're getting
especially Mega
A
Destroyer,
total eclipse of the hop, it's a little hard to go through the whole thing, but
never leave a beer behind, though, right?
I can't leave a bottle unfinished. I'll finish it, even if that means a rough morning.
I try not to, but yeah, it usually ends up happening.
It happens.
Yeah, I don't know. Have you guys had any other sort of really odd, sort of winter style Christmassy beers that were really hit or miss?
Oh yeah. Bottle share last night, and was trying a Postmark Winter Ale, and that was it was a very honey forward. I don't know if that was
Winter
intentional.
Red?
Yeah, they're Winter Red. I got a lot of honey off it. It was a few people having it. A lot of people I respect their opinion on beer, and we were all pretty uneasy about it after having it. Yeah, I don't know, just a lot of heavy sweetness that was coming through, and I think it's like we talked about earlier. We look for those roasty big flavors, not necessarily a sweetness, and that's what really came through for us. But there was some other great stuff like that Slayer. I thought was great, and that's just a double alt. Traditional style German style beer, but it really works for this time of year, especially in Vancouver, right?
Yeah.
Twin Sails, they're doing a Stieke alt, which is secret alt beer, and it's an alt beer with just higher hops and slightly higher ABV. I'm drinking some right now. It's great too. I think it's about 5.8% and 40 IBUs, but really nicely balanced, and sort of got that malty, mouth-filling flavor to it. So those are some of the good ones.
Nice. Just trying to look one of the beers up here that I had recently. Not technically a winter beer.
Terry's trying to look through his bottle there.
Yeah, see if I can find the date on this one. I don't think there is one. So, at least a year. I know that. Maybe 2.
I just had
Probably more.
just recently had a beer, Tokyo from Brewdog, which is a nice strong one. It's 18.2% alcohol, but it's got like huge chocolate and cranberry flavors and licorice, which a bit of prune and everything. It all kind of really goes well with the winter theme.
Yeah. Unless you're Carnell, because he doesn't like fruit
Yes.
in his beer.
Hey, well, Tokyo, that all comes through just via the malts and the hops, doesn't it? They're not adding anything. That's my only argument. Don't add it.
I'm not sure about that. The cranberry part, I'm not sure, because I don't know what that would come through in the malt profile and everything.
Yeah.
Like, I can see the prunes and licorice and all that kind of stuff, but
Yeah. See, I had a bottle of Tokyo, and I'm not good at aging things, but I brought it back from the UK, put it in a fridge. I was living at my parents' place, and my parents' friend came over, went to grab some beer, grabbed the Tokyo, had one sip, poured it down the drain, said it was bad.
Oh.
So I've still never had it.
oh god.
It's funny that you refer to him as a friend.
It wasn't my friend. Not my friend.
Ex-friend?
My dad's friend.
That is brutal.
Yeah, that's why I moved out.
And I haven't spoke to them since.
Yeah. Yeah, that's brutal. I would not be happy about that.
Mm-mm.
It's not a cheap beer.
No,
Yeah.
I bought it in British pounds too.
Yeah.
Oh man. Any other interesting beers for the winter?
I've got one.
Well, going back to advent calendars, Mike, you mentioned I might make you one next year. Maybe I can find one that's in your budget.
Just
You know,
save
that doesn't
up.
cost. That doesn't cost $400. Anyway, one of the things that I like to do is my dad and I do an exchange every year now, and we make each other an advent calendar, and that's my recommendation for anyone who's, you know, those that Craft Crossing one is a really good sort of intro to the two breweries. You know, if you haven't had much of their beer, if you have a friend who's just getting into craft beer, or you're just getting into craft beer, I mean, that's a really good introduction, right? You can't go
That's a
wrong
good
with that.
point. That's a good point.
You
It's
know,
very
if
good.
you're really into it, you drink a lot of high quality, expensive bottles. You know, it's probably not going to be your favorite pack. But you know, then I suggest either make something for someone and do an exchange. You know, someone who's kind of in that same zone, or if you have a cellar, or if you have, you know, whatnot, some beers in storage, there's apps out there that you can pick them for you, get someone else to randomize them for you. Lots of different things you can do to make it fun and get all out of it. So those are my suggestions. And I did notice a few liquor stores were putting them together.
Yeah.
Bottle Jockey had some. Elizabeth Station in Bellingham always does it.
Nice.
So there's a few out there that were putting them together, and you know, that's another fun thing to do. So it's good. It's catching on. It'll be even bigger next year.
Yeah. I'd like to see someone else, or maybe a couple other, like another group of breweries hop in together and, pun intended, you know, put something else together. Maybe some of the smaller guys that not everyone's had, but once you put it in a advent calendar, people are going to buy it, especially if they're not familiar with you as much as the bigger guys. Like, if you're into craft in the Lower Mainland or even BC and Alberta, you know Central City and you know Parallel 49, but you know, I'd be more inclined to buy from smaller guys or lesser known or harder to get
Yeah.
here for sure.
Don't forget too that those Craft Crossing and stuff are also shipped to other provinces in Canada, so that helps them out too for people that don't know their beer as well.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I would say that'd be hard about other breweries, especially smaller breweries, building their own advent calendars, is that you need a lot of tank space to do that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And most of the smaller breweries just don't have it. Maybe they could do one beer, but are you really going to bring together 24 breweries or something? That might be way out of the league of what's possible.
How do you get it
Yeah.
all together? to
Mindset.
package?
Maybe I'll do it. I'll unite the clans.
I would like to see the BC Craft Brewers Guild put together a 12 beers at Christmas next year. I think that would be Ken Beatty. I don't know if you listen to us, but if you're out there and listening or watching.
So way more accessible format too. 12 beers. Can you
Yeah.
afford-
12's good. You know, I mean, then
I'm back in school. I can't afford. I couldn't afford the Craft Crossing this year. Sorry, just got sadder. But yeah, I mean, 12 is cheap for.
What about if it was like Parallel 49 with their, what was that pack called where they collaborated with a bunch of breweries in BC?
Oh, the Brews Brothers?
Brews Brothers.
Got
What about
it.
a Winter Brews Brothers, possibly?
Yeah,
So-
I think that'd be awesome.
Mhm.
I think they should do that seasonally. You know, you get your winter, you get your spring, summer, and fall. I'd totally be into that. 12 at a time, easy.
Might be hard to do that unless they built another brewery somewhere, which is
You're
probably
such a
on the
Debbie
way.
Downer. Think of the possibility, Mike.
Oh,
that's
not
it's
me.
a lot of it's a lot of work for them though. That's the only problem, right? Like
Yeah.
they don't make a lot more money on that than just a 12-pack of beer. Right? So,
More of a gimmick.
like if you talk to them about that, about how, you know, the brew schedule and that, like the Brews Brothers one was crazy. The brew schedule for that
Yeah, it
was
was.
nuts,
Did they
right?
do it?
So
Was it all done on a Parallel 49? Or?
Yes.
all of it, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they had all the breweries visit, except for Rossland, which I think they did over Skype.
They did, yes.
They brewed via Skype.
Well, they did.
They
the,
were going to come,
um,
but they couldn't make it.
They collaborated on the recipe and everything over Skype, but it just wouldn't have worked. I think weather-wise, and they're in the Kootenays, so they did it that
they were
way.
gonna make it out. They couldn't make it out, and I was talking to Graham about it. And so they basically let the breweries that were coming in kind of have creative control.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And we're more consulting on stuff. So anyway, it's a cool idea, and I hope to see it again. I loved the Brews Brothers pack. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't love every beer in there, it was just kind of neat to try a different take on things. So I like that kind of stuff.
They might have more trouble doing it. I'd heard that they put in a bunch more tanks in order to actually lager their lager, because it takes such a long time. 6 weeks to make a lager. Rather than 3 or 4 tops for an ale. So with their push to make the East Van Lager, is that what they're calling it?
It's craft lager.
Yeah.
Craft lager, sorry, craft lager. The lager in Vancouver. I can't imagine they would have the space if they're lagering it all now.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
know.
what was it with Brews? With Brews Brothers, they used their old tanks for the last time
Yeah.
before they sold them off. So if they do it this year, it'll be probably double the volume.
It'll be cross Canada.
Yeah.
That'd be okay.
Well, the last I heard, there was still talk of doing another one, so we should just put the earworm in there to do it for the winter.
I would buy at least one box.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
3
I'd win
sold
one on the
already.
radio.
Yeah.
Anyway, I know we're kind of straying off topic here.
What
So
topic?
back to winter beers. What do you think will be under your in your stocking this year, under your tree? Any beer gifts or beer related gifts?
Oh, I know I'll be buying myself at least a couple Thor's Hammer to sit under my tree. And hopefully they're doing the barrel-aged one again, because that'll be there as well.
Yeah. I don't know. I put it out to my family that anything beer related, rare beer, strange beer, anything, hit me up. I'll do it. I know I'm going back to my wife's hometown of Camrose, Alberta, tiny little town, and apparently they've got a tiny little craft brewery there. Almost, I think they're operating on like a pilot system, but I've got an inkling that there'll be a little tour and tasting set up, which would be kind of cool. I like visiting with small guys, so that'd be cool. I think they have seasonals there too, so it'd be kind of cool. But yeah,
Hopefully they have a winter one.
I hope so. By Edmonton, so
I just
Get
hope your
dessert.
relatives don't buy you the wrong winter beers.
yeah. What is this garbage?
Hey, we got you this advent calendar.
Oh, man. How about you, Carnell? Any interesting beers going to be under your tree for yourself?
I don't know about beers because I think my family's just given up on trying to find me something new, which is fair. But I do a bit of the home brewing. I really enjoy that. So I think I've got a beer gun coming my way. And I mentioned this to a lady at the grocery store, and she looked really shocked when I said gun. So it's not a gun. It's just something that fills bottles with a bit of CO2 cushion over the top, so they keep much better.
Nice.
So I'd be pretty stoked on that. Yeah, it's basic. I think if you've ever been to Brass Neck, anyone ever been to Brass Neck?
Oh, yeah.
That little place on Maine.
They make a
Okay.
good stout for the winter.
Yeah, I think that's what they actually use as growler fillers, are beer guns. So
Yeah.
it just allows you to chuck the CO2 in first, and then your beer underneath, which keeps it really well. So that would be rad, because I'd love to share the beer I make with other people, especially when it's not so good. Get it out of my place into someone else's.
And that's why I don't homebrew.
I mean, it's always good.
That's good. That one looks good. What's that?
Who?
Carnell.
Oh, I'm back to the coconut porter. I went Moody Ale's chocolate stout
Nice.
to the Stieke from Twin Sails, and now I'm back to the coconut porter from Yellow Dog.
Nice.
And I think I know we talked about this. It's coconut. They've added coconut, but
The humanity.
it's
Is that a fruit?
yeah. It's a nut, isn't it? It's got nut in the name. They wouldn't lie, would they? that coconut marketing board. No, it's I think it's the flavors you want, right? The roastiness, the heaviness. I couldn't tell you the alcohol right now, but everything's there that I want in a sipper for winter.
Nice. How about you, Terry? Do
Actually,
you have
all three of
anything?
the beers.
We have a tradition in my house. Santa always puts a beer in my stocking,
Nice.
and occasionally will buy me a case of beer. Put it
Ooh.
under the tree. Probably not this year, but yeah, there's always a Santa themed beer in my stocking. A couple years ago it was Soddy Claus. Last year it was Rogue Santa's Private Reserve, and I think this year it's gonna be the New Bridge one.
You know
Oh,
the
Santa?
Grinch?
Oh, what's the name of that? No, not the Grinch. What's the other?
Oh, the
What's their other one?
Oh,
It's Winter Red.
Sleigh Booster?
Sleigh Booster, yeah.
Sleigh Booster. Yeah, that was. I
Oh,
really enjoyed that one.
I love that thing.
Yeah, but I didn't
Yeah.
realize it was Bridge
So
Brewing.
that'll be the.
It killed me, that label. It's so different from everything else they do.
Yeah.
It's
I
really
was like, who are these guys who stole Bridge's name?
cool.
Yeah. Speaking of Bridge, they have, or at least they had. I don't know if they still have it now. They had a barrel-aged Grinch version out there. I had that at a bottle share. It was good. It wasn't much different than the regular Grinch because it's a heavily spiced beer, so there wasn't too much barrel shining through. But over time, that'll come through pretty nicely next year.
Nice. I haven't had Grinch in a while, but it's not overly sweet, even though it's spiced pretty well, is it?
No, it's not sweet. It's just it tastes like Christmas.
Yeah.
the Grinch tastes like Christmas, and the winter one is a the Beer Raider leather chair fire beer. Like it,
Yeah.
it's perfect. It's perfect for sitting by the fire.
You need to get an ice
I can't
glass
think of a better beer for that than that one.
Nice.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's it for me in terms of that.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah. Is there anything else about winter beers here we should talk about?
Does anyone have the glacial mammoth extinction?
I've had an ounce of it so far, and I got a little more of it squirreled away for another time.
Nice. Yeah, I only say that because I have indeed. And yeah, I had, a couple ounces and unreal. Couldn't believe how it sort of changed from the original Flanders Red that it was at one point before it was, was he double, what's the term? Double
freeze distilled.
Double freeze distilled.
Or,
And yeah, just
where does it say
a
here?
lot of body and really mellow in the best sort of way, but still getting hints of those original flavors that you love from the Flanders Red itself. Really cool beer. If I had, $2,000 or $3,000, I'd have more of it.
Well, you don't need to spend that much though. It was $80 a liter if you didn't want the fancy bottle with the mammoth tusk.
It's $80 a liter.
$40 a half liter.
Just go grab my second wallet and head down there. No, it's great stuff. It's really good beer.
It was,
Cool.
yeah. All right, any other winter beer stuff? Not really?
No.
That's what I forgot to mention at the start, that we did film a different episode 6, all on the BC Beer Awards. It was a great little chat, and my computer decided to make it a silent film. But wanted to at least say congratulations to all the winners of the BC Beer Awards this year. The way it's judged on closest to style, everyone deserves their awards. Anyone else want to say something quickly before we sign off?
Well done, winners.
Woo!
Yeah,